have a question for Coach Barnes on the 2018 class.
How excited are you to finally be able to talk about these 5 girls?
I'm really excited. I'm excited actually, but so the scary thing is with women's basketball today, or just college athletics, a commitment is nothing. A commitment doesn't mean anything. So when you can actually secure the class, it's huge. And you're kind of, you're still recruiting everybody until then. You never know, things can happen. So to finally get the signatures on the dotted line, it means a lot. And now to be able to talk about it, it's just really exciting for our staff.
What player type were you going after in this recruiting class particularly?
First of all, the best players, but I knew that we didn't have a lot of post players. We didn't have size inside, so for sure a focal point was posts. And then, once we got Aerie to come here, I knew I had great guards, and Marley's a freshman, so it was a focal point, just getting bigger because the Pac-12 is so big, and everybody just has long players on their team. So focus point was a post, but then I would have taken a really good guard, and I got Bryce, so that was great.
For fans that don't know, what separates each one of those post players from the other?
Okay, so they're all very different. So if you look first, Shalise Smith was the first committed player and first signed player. Shalise was someone I knew and I recruited back when I was, at my old job. And she was someone that I knew I wanted to go after. She's versatile. She's tenacious on offense and defense. She's a fighter. She's competitive. She's athletic. So she was going to give us a really versatile, go to war with kid, a tough kid. And she's also a great kid and fits our culture off the court. The next player, so Kate Reese. Kate Reese is different, and her and Shalise could play together. Kate Reese is just a fierce competitor. She brings it every night. She brings it for 40 or however many minutes. If it's 45, she's bringing it all 45. She's diving for balls. She's sprinting the floor every time. She doesn't back down from anybody. She's not afraid of anybody. So that was that competitive chip that I want and the type of blue-collar players I want. She can shoot the 15-footer. We're going to develop her 3 more, but she can step out and shoot the 3. So I knew they could play together. Then Valeria gave us more size. So you look at Shalise at 6'1". You look at Kate Reese at 6'1", 6'2". Well, I wanted someone bigger also. So Valeria Trucco is 6'4", 6'5", and she can really stretch the defense. She's like a deadly 3-point shooter, really will stretch the defense. So she can play with Kate or Shalise. She's also a very good passer and gives us more size, so she can play against the 5s in our league. And then the icing on the cake with that was Samaje Smith. So Samaje is 6'6". Samaje is really long. She alters shots inside. She finishes well around the basket. She has a nice turnaround jumper. And she can play, if I want to go really big, I can play Samaje and Valeria. But they can all play with each other. So Kate and Shalise can play with either or. So it just gave us a different looks, and they're all really different. Shalise is different than Kate. Kate's different than Valeria. Valeria's different than Samaje. So they all were just different combinations that will work together. In some stuff, maybe in her sophomore, junior year, Valeria could probably play the 3. So there's just different looks. And then we have Dom, so Dom's able to mold and teach all of those young players. So I was excited about it. We are post-heavy in the class, but that's what we want because posts are very hard to get. Yeah, so Dominique McBride, she's here, but she'll be, she'll have 2 years, so she'll be able to help us mold the freshmen. And then just as a guard, Bryce Nixon, I recruited her some at Washington, and I knew that getting a great player in state means a lot. And not only is she a great person, she comes from a great family. She's a really smart player. She can knock down shots. And people don't realize she's 5'10". So she's not like a 5'6" small guard. So she has length. She can play the 1, 2, or 3. So bringing that, and sometimes I can play her and Sammy together. They're both tall. So I like the size we're getting, and it enables us to hone in on a couple positions and focus on the 19 class because we're only going to need 1 or 2 players.
Can you talk about your relationship with Valeria and how that developed and how you, obviously through connections you have, I'm assuming in Europe and Italy?
Yeah, so connections and relationships are huge. I mean, they're just a huge part of recruiting and being successful. So it's a small world, and we kind of found out about some of this later. But Salvo, obviously, Coach Coppa, he's Italian from Italy. So Salvo's father has played against Sandra, which is Valeria's mom. So is known. There's a lot of history there. Sandra works for FIBA and works for the Italian Federation. So there's a lot of history there. And actually, Salvo's dad wanted Sandra to play for his team, and she was like, "No, I'm not going to Sicily because, he's known to be crazy, and he's not. He's just super intense. So she didn't ever go play. She's from the north. So so that was like the kind of background. And Salvo used to coach some of Valeria's teammates and some players on a national team that played on the young team with Valeria. So they all, they love Salvo. Salvo really improved them when they were on their U15, U16 team. So there was just a lot of connections, a lot of history. And Salva also coached one of her other teammates that moved to the north of Italy from Sicily. So there was a ton of connections. And Valeria came here. I mean, she was looking at other schools in the Pac-12 and, schools in the South. But this was the right fit for her. I think she really believed in what we were doing. And her mom knew Salvo from his coaching days in Italy and knew that he was a really good coach. So because his mom was really sharp, and her mom and dad played basketball. So they get it, they know fundamentals, and they know they do research, and they're really savvy about all that stuff. So it was just kind of like a perfect fit.
Will her command of the language work and everything, will it be like a slow progress, kind of like Dusan Ristic with the men's side? I mean, or is it something where you think she'll be able to transition to Tucson way of life right away?
I think really easily, and I think it helps her because Salvo's here and speaks Italian. So when she wants Italian food, she'll come over here. Or Salvo's family comes, or her family comes. So like we cook Italian food all the time, but I think there's a comfort there. And also we have another foreigner. We have Lucia. So it's just, I think that and we have Eugenie. So they tend to bond together, and I think that it helps when you do have someone that speaks your language. I think Lucia was here, and she was kind of just immersed into the culture and stuff, but it would have been easier if she had a Spanish teammate, obviously. So although Salva won't be a teammate of hers, just the familiarity and speaking the language and eating the food or finding the great Italian restaurants. And we might have to get a hold of Coach Candrea and tell him to cook us some food too, because he's Italian also. So, but we're happy to have her. It's not an easy choice for a 17-year-old player to, take a leap of faith and just come to America and play basketball. I think it's pretty hard. So we're just happy that she chose us, and she's going to be a great asset to our family.
Compare and contrast yesterday to 12 months ago.
Well, gosh, you always ask me the tough questions. So very different. I think that even just right now. So right now we're really young. We share the ball better. We are a little bit more receptive to everything, and it's not good or bad. Last year we were great athletes, but I only had a year to coach them. But I do see the difference of, like the Sam Thomas, she's a freshman. She doesn't play like a freshman. She makes the extra pass. I think that we're picking stuff up a lot faster, although they're learning a lot. I think it's just a drastic difference. One of the other big differences is when you first come, you're right away trying to build a foundation and a culture. And I think now that having a year of it, so I'm able to teach Jalea, teach Destiny what this culture looks like. And then now I bring the other players into the culture. It's not starting from scratch, and everybody's learning a new thing. So the upperclassmen are able to teach the freshmen along with me. And then what helps that also is having Arion and having Dom into that, because and Titi, they come from championship cultures also. So it's not like starting from scratch and not knowing what it looks like, because those three really know what it looks like. Now Destiny and Jalea have had a taste of what it should look like. So now it's 5 people doing the right things. I don't know if that answers your question.
How about as it relates to actually that fall signing day period versus last year? Like bringing in a class like this.
Well, I mean, it's huge. I think that last year, getting the job late and having the scramble and being behind on all the kids is really hard. This year, having time to build the relationships, and honestly, we shot really high. So last year, I thought, okay, getting the 150 ranked class would have been good here. Just because it surprised me, honestly, getting some of the commitments. It was like, whoa, okay. So we went after some really top kids. I mean, we're competing with, Ohio State's, Cal's, Stanford's, and we're in the mix on Tennessee's. The last kid, there's just a lot of top schools. So I think that we weren't even, and I had an AAU coach tell me last week, a really important AAU coach. He said to me, a couple years ago, you wouldn't have even been in the mix. And now it's like we're on the radar. So I think that just the relationships, and we shot for the stars. We worked really hard. Our staff worked really hard and kept relationships, built new ones, and we're able to secure that class. So it's huge for us, because the hard part about this situation is you're selling a vision. So we're not selling a recent success. So it's really hard to go to a top 10 kid in the country and say, we're going to be good one day, because everybody says that, right? So people want evidence and proof. So we have to say, this is what we're doing. This is how we're doing it. This is what it looks like. You know, Morgan has done it. I've done it. Salvo's done it. Sonny's done it. And this is how we're going to This is how we're going to collaborate and get it done. And then they have to be the kids that are willing to do it, the kids that are willing to take a chance and willing to say, I'm good enough to help you do that. You're going to get it done. And that's not easy because people want to go win. Like, you want to go, they want to go to the Final Four. And so you have to show to them that you're going to build great teammates around them. And you're going to build a championship culture. And that's hard to do. That's very hard to do because we're competing with better programs right now. So now that I have these players, now it's easier to get the other top kid because now we have some here so they know we're going to be successful later. But it's a leap of faith. Shalice's was a leap of faith initially. You know, I had a long-standing relationship with her, very comfortable, but she had to trust me. And Bryce had to trust me. She could have gone to Oregon State. She could have gone to other schools. And then, you know, Kate had to trust. You know, she's leaving out of Texas. It's really hard to get kids out of Texas. You know, she could have gone to Texas or Texas A&M, somewhere else. So showing them that we can do that here. It's special. Come on board. Come leave the legacy with us. And it's hopefully the formula works.
What do you think?
Go ahead.
What do you think the current players? I know almost all of them will be playing with these recruits next year. I mean, what do you think they think about it, or what have they said, or what's kind of
well, and they haven't really said anything. They're just excited about the class. They've built relationships with these players, so I think they're just happy that it's kind of secured now. But I think that when you're building a top program, a winning program, you're always going to over recruit your players. So if you're not recruiting a better player, then you're not doing your job. So I think that what you instill in your players now is, yeah, there's some good players coming in, but you're here. You need to work on your game and get better. And then you'll be ready because you're not a rookie next year. You're not a freshman. So they just have to keep on getting better. But that's our job. Our job is to get a better player. Our job is to go get the next great player that adds to that. And that's how you build a program.
Who was the last to fax in the paperwork?
Well, it was Valeria because there were some missing signatures, and it's a lot harder overseas. So there's not like Kinko's on every corner. So it's just more of a process because we told them to send it in a certain way, but some stuff's not clear. It's pretty tough paperwork. If you read it all, it's kind of confusing. So, yeah, she got it in. And then the time difference. It's a 12-hour time difference, so.
On the cusp of tomorrow, then, what are you looking forward to, just getting the season started?
Yeah, I'm just looking forward to starting off strong. I'm not looking ahead. I'm literally taking one practice at a time, one game at a time. I'm not looking at the Pac-12. I'm not looking at the end of the non-conference. My goal is every day, every week, we're improving. And I think we really improved from the first exhibition game to the second. So tomorrow, to start off, just doing the little things we've implemented and executing those things and just taking one day at a time. That's what you have to do with the situation we're in.
Would you say that you are better at this year just through 2 exhibition games than you were last year at this time?
We're better at all the little things. We're better at sharing the basketball. We're better at passing the ball, making the extra pass. We're better at being able to execute something I asked for. We're not solid defensively, but we're better. We take care of the ball much better. I think at this point last year, in the second exhibition game, we had 24 turnovers. I mean, I think we had 14 last game, 11 the first one. So that's a sign of, do we have to work on our passing? Still, yes. But we're able to do the little things. I think we're picking up stuff a little faster. But it's different. I think that, but everybody's extremely coachable. Last year they were also, but I think I'd say making the extra pass and being unselfish is probably just better at this point than it was last year.
How rare is it to have the first game of the season at noon? And what is there something different in preparations for something like that?
Yeah, I mean, it's hard. It's hard to play at noon because you don't have your shoot around. Because I don't want to wake the players up at 7 a.m. for a shoot around. So you do it more of a walkthrough, a talk through. It's hard. It's different. But I guess the positive thing is we practice at noon every day. So it's the same time as practice. So in that sense, they're used to that. So I think that could be a benefit. But Iona's a really good team. And they're coached really well, and they run a lot of different stuff that's just kind of hard to guard. So this is going to be a good test for us. So it's one game at a time and learning to get better than we were last game and improve every day, and hopefully we're able to execute and get a win.
Anything else? Right.
No? Okay, thank you, guys.
Congrats, thanks.
Thanks a lot.